In the clear skies over Silesia in the 1920s, a teenage girl stood on a ridge, her heart pounding as a wooden glider caught the wind. Hanna Reitsch was no ordinary child. While other girls her age imagined traditional futures, she imagined herself soaring above the mountains. Decades later, she would be hailed as one of the most daring pilots of her time and condemned as one of the most controversial women of the century. Hanna was born on March 29, 1912, in Hirschberg, Silesia, the daughter of a respected physician. Her father believed discipline and patriotism were cornerstones of character, and her mother fostered a fierce sense of independence. The family often hiked in the Silesian mountains, and Hanna would later recall staring up at hawks circling the peaks, longing to join them. Though she began studying medicine, she confessed in her diary that each anatomy lecture left her restless. She wanted the freedom of the sky. At just 19, she joined a gliding school at Grunau. It wasn't glamorous. Students hauled heavy gliders up hillsides by hand. But Hanna loved the physical challenge. She was tiny, barely 5 feet tall and weighing less than 100 pounds, yet utterly fearless. Once, during a training flight, a sudden downdraft sent her glider plunging toward a rocky slope. She kept her composure, leveled out just above the ground, and landed safely. Her instructor reportedly told the class, "That girl has the heart of an eagle." By the mid-1930s, Hanna was breaking gliding records across Europe. At an air show in Switzerland, she performed daring aerobatics in gusty conditions, while more experienced male pilots refused to fly. Spectators gasped as she rolled her glider in a perfect barrel roll and landed gracefully. That day, European newspapers dubbed her the soaring girl from Silesia. When the Nazis rose to power in 1933, aviation became a powerful propaganda tool. Hanna's skill and photogenic charm were irresistible to Joseph Goebbels' propaganda ministry. She joined the German Research Institute for Gliding, testing experimental designs and becoming one of Germany's first female professional pilots. In 1938, she flew the Fokker-Achilles Fa-61, the world's first practical helicopter, inside Berlin's Sportpalast, circling the arena under spotlights to a cheering crowd. Goebbels called the event a triumph of German engineering, but the newspapers called it the night Hanna tamed the air indoors. During World War II, Hanna pushed herself into even riskier roles. She tested the Messerschmitt Me-163 Comet, a rocket-powered fighter that could outrun any Allied plane but was notoriously unstable. On her first Me-163 flight, the landing skid failed. The craft skidded off the runway, and Hanna was nearly killed when it crashed into a field. She walked away battered but unshaken, later writing, "A pilot cannot love the sky and fear it too." She also tested the V-1 flying bomb, strapping herself into a piloted version of a weapon designed to devastate enemy cities. After one test flight, her canopy iced over, blinding her. She managed to land by touch and memory alone. Even hardened Luftwaffe officers were impressed by her composure. Hitler awarded her both the Iron Cross Second Class and, later, the Iron Cross First Class, rare honors for a woman. But Hanna's admiration for Hitler went beyond duty. She met him personally several times and later described him as a kindly man in private, a statement that has haunted her legacy ever since. By 1944, as Germany's defeat loomed, Hanna grew desperate. She proposed forming self-sacrifice squadrons, pilots willing to crash explosive-laden planes into Allied targets. She volunteered to lead them. The Luftwaffe never fully implemented her plan, but her offer revealed her unwavering fanaticism. In April 1945, Soviet troops surrounded Berlin. The city was burning, and Hitler's regime was collapsing. Hanna volunteered for one of the war's most perilous missions, to fly into besieged Berlin with General Robert Ritter von Greim. Flying a small Fieseler Storch reconnaissance plane, they descended through anti-aircraft fire and smoke. At one point, tracer bullets tore through the fuselage, narrowly missing her. She later said she felt only a strange calm. Landing on an improvised strip, she and von Greim made their way to Hitler's bunker. Inside, she found Hitler pale and trembling, but still issuing orders. He promoted von Greim to head of the Luftwaffe on the spot. Hanna would later claim she begged Hitler to stop the destruction and save civilian lives, but but many historians doubt the sincerity or even the accuracy of that account. After a short stay, she piloted von Greim back out of Berlin under equally heavy fire, a feat that would have been suicidal for most. When Germany surrendered, Hanna was captured by US forces. Interrogators wanted to know everything: German rocket technology, secret weapons, Hitler's final days. Hanna remained proud and composed. One officer recalled her speaking of Hitler with tears in her eyes, which shocked even her captors. She was held for over a year, but never charged with war crimes. Released in 1946, she returned to a ruined Germany. Her family was shattered. Her parents had committed suicide at war's end. Friends distanced themselves from her because of her continued loyalty to the Third Reich. But Hanna refused to repent. She told one journalist, "I was not a Nazi. I was a German who loved her country." Yet in private letters, she continued to praise Hitler. Despite post-war restrictions on German aviation, Hanna found ways to fly again. In the 1950s, she set new gliding altitude and distance records. In one dramatic flight over the Andes, she lost lift and narrowly escaped a crash by using ridge currents in a daring maneuver. She consulted for aircraft companies and traveled internationally, including a tour in India, where Prime Minister Nehru reportedly congratulated her on her achievements in aviation. In Ghana, she helped establish a national gliding school, charming local pilots with stories of her early days in Silesia. She also published her autobiography, The Sky, My Kingdom, portraying herself as an apolitical thrill-seeker swept along by history. Many readers were captivated by her descriptions of flight, but disturbed by her unwillingness to confront the atrocities of the regime she served. In her later years, Hanna continued to lecture and compete. At a 1974 aviation event, she reportedly chastised a younger pilot for using modern navigation aids, insisting, "A real pilot trusts her instincts." Interviewers remained stunned by her lack of remorse. In one televised interview, when asked if she regretted serving Hitler, she replied calmly, "He meant well for Germany." Even former Luftwaffe colleagues distanced themselves after such remarks. On August 24, 1979, Hanna Reitsch died of a heart attack in Frankfurt at the age of 67. To the end, she described herself as proud of her service to Hitler. Today, Hanna Reitsch's story is a troubling paradox. She was a pioneering aviator, the first woman to fly a jet and a rocket plane, a record-breaking glider pilot, a woman whose skill and courage inspired countless others. But she was also a propaganda figure for a genocidal regime and someone who never disavowed its leader. Her life forces us to ask difficult questions. Can extraordinary talent be separated from moral responsibility? Does personal bravery excuse political complicity? Hanna's journey shows how ambition and charisma can be exploited by destructive ideologies. Hanna Reitsch reached for the heavens and touched the limits of flight itself. But the sky she loved so dearly could not wash away the shadows cast by the regime she served. Her story remains both an inspiration for aviation pioneers and a cautionary tale about loyalty, ambition, and moral blindness.